Welcome to this Friday, March 28th edition of Weather to Watch. Huge area of severe weather, not the only one that we're going to talk about. What's pictured there is Sunday. We'll dive into that possibility as well as others coming up. Here's what I'll cover in what I'm watching weather-wise. We have a stormy weekend for many actually, in the central and eastern U.S. Drought relief in Texas is ongoing. That's some good news there. And a multiple area of severe storm potential and also a midweek storm right around Wednesday that we're keeping an eye on, as the severe weather season has kicked in early this year in March, and no sign that it's going to let up even into early April. Let's take a look at the visible satellite loop for the entire U.S. We see the main jet stream flow is up here through the northern tier states into the Great Lakes and New England. We have a weak weather system there producing a lot of clouds and also some pretty significant showers. Another little weather system there, that's pretty weak. And increasing flow coming ashore now in the western U.S. That's part of the next storm system that will affect the central U.S. This weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday. If we go all the way from coast to coast, Pacific to Atlantic, that storm will continue to kick off some severe weather potential. We'll cover that here in a minute. Here's the 500 millibar flow. Like I said, the main flow is up here. That's where the strongest winds are. We have this weak little system centered in the coastal area of Texas down there, and it's mostly just kind of producing a mild swirl in the clouds and some showers that we'll focus in here on a minute. One little weak short wave there, and you can see the cloudiness connected with that. And again, the flow, generally speaking, is becoming a little more organized and coming ashore in the Pacific, in the western Pacific area. Here's a little close-up look of the satellite image there. So Dallas is right about there. Houston is right about there. And Shreveport, I'm getting on labeling these a little bit better here in the future. But anyway, you can definitely see the flow a little bit closer up. You can also see some embedded convection right in through here. And as a matter of fact, if we go ahead and advance, there's a tornado watch in effect through much of the area down there. And I think I grabbed this right around 4 o'clock Central Time. And but if you really want a good confirmation of what's going on, we'll go ahead and switch to radar real quick down there. And as you can see, that is actually showing pretty good areas of thunderstorms from, it looks like extreme northwest parts of Louisiana southward. And there was a tornado warning in effect right along the Louisiana and Arkansas border. That has expired, but that was a PDS tornado warning, so something had already been seen and spotted, I should say. Anyway, but that's pretty good rains down there, and arguably in an area that could use some, actually more in Texas than anywhere else. But still, that is an area that is looking to get a little bit more rain, especially more west of there than you go, the more west that you go. That area I was just showing you was highlighted earlier today, as having a 1 out of 5 severe weather threat, along with coastal areas of Texas all the way down to Mexico. There's also a part 2 to this area up along a front, let's say from Grand Island, central Nebraska through Sioux City, up to Minneapolis and Eau Claire, Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin. Again, slight risk of severe weather up in that part of the world. And then we switched to Saturday, and this has been interesting because this was highlighted days ago by the SPC and then dropped because of capping inversion concerns, which were valid at the time, but kind of watching that slowly kind of erode a little bit. So there's still a severe weather potential roughly from Springfield to Kansas City, up to Columbia, Missouri, and then back into the Tulsa area, and then down along the dry line into Texas, a little more questionable. The issue is that if you just look at it from a wind perspective, it looks fine. Even from an unstable air perspective, it looks fine. But the real question is, can the thunderstorms break through a cap, a warm layer of air? And I think that they largely will. It may not happen until overnight, and any cells that can manage to survive moving into this environment overnight into eastern Oklahoma, even into western Missouri, could hang on to their severe potential, or even a weak tornado is possible in some of that activity. The main player, so to speak, the main outlook, and this has been consistent for about 6 days now, is the severe weather outlook for Sunday. The epicenter of that is more or less along the boot heel of Missouri and spreading out in all directions from there. So that's a 3 right there out of 5 potential that's going on there. So it looks a lot like that last outlook where we had the multiple tornado outbreak, and I'm not prepared to say that's the same because the wind fields on this one, first of all, are not nearly as strong and organized, but they are strong, and there is unstable air. So this will be a different kind of tornado potential, not as widespread probably, but still anything could happen. You just really have to watch this time of year when you get strong jet stream winds and unstable air. Sometimes those finer scale details won't even be known till Sunday morning, and it could turn out to be really bad or maybe not as bad. But still, if you're in this enhanced area, especially, you want to be on want to be on the lookout for any mode of severe weather. Certainly, if we look at the Colorado State University severe probability map, so that kind of outlines tornado is here. Now they are looking at, and probably rightly so, about a 10% risk of tornadoes there in eastern Kentucky and Tennessee. Now that is my interpretation of that is that's a late evening overnight event, so that's not good news, because I think the thunderstorms will be breaking out around sunset in this area, and then we'll spend the day sliding eastward. And you can see there's a hail probability that's bullseyed in southern Illinois there, and a high wind probability. So all those more or less match the severe weather outlook for that area. And the tornado potential, I think, is getting worse as you get into the nighttime. You never like to see that. And also worse as you get into terrain that's a little hillier and with a lot more trees at night. So that's a bad situation, bad combination. All right, so total precipitation here is looking, as we saw on the radar, like eastern parts of Louisiana, western parts of Texas, down into the coastal areas. They already had rain earlier, and they're still getting some. This is Friday through Sunday, so it looks as if a lot of rain is falling. Again, I would have liked it to be backed up a little bit more and hang out in parts of south central Texas longer to kind of relieve the drought situation there. But as it is, they did get some rain, and this system is sliding to the east. Now, the heavy rain hazardous weather outlook for March 30th, which is Sunday, encompasses all this area here, very close to where the severe weather outlook was, not surprisingly. And then it kind of slips southeast a little bit on March 31st, which is Monday, heavy rain potential kind of overlapping there in Alabama and getting into parts of Georgia. And as we turn our attention to Wednesday, that next storm system I just talked about, there's a severe weather potential there, 15% risk within 25 miles. That covers areas that have been covered before. It's starting to look like a broken record. These severe weather outlook areas have a real common theme. Their western edge seems to be right along eastern Oklahoma to western Missouri, and it's one of those progressive systems that looks like it'll get worse as we get into the nighttime hours. And it moves into areas where the Mississippi River is probably where things will start to really get bad. So that's interesting. And then on the back side of this, there's a heavy snow potential April 5th through 6th here through portions of the Rockies. And also another heavy rain potential more broadly on the 5th through the 8th, and then more specifically in south central parts of the country on April 5th and April 6th. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.